Welcome to the Rotary Club. It's a beautiful day in Fort Worth, and we're so glad that you joined us. Becky Burton, CEO of Girl Scouts of Texas-Oklahoma Plains, will be giving our invocation today, followed by the national anthem performed by Harriet Harrell, principal of the Harrell Group. Becky?
Please pray with me. Gracious God, you have given most of humankind a strong desire to do good, to be honest, to serve others, and to faithfully fulfill our obligations to our neighbors. Help us as Rotarians and humans to do good. Help us as Rotarians and humans to be honest and ethical in all our dealings. Help us as Rotarians and humans to serve others. And help us as Rotarians and humans to faithfully fulfill our obligations as neighbors to our community and our nation and to the world. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Becky and Harriet. Thanks also to our fellow Rotarians who volunteer to register members and guests, provide AV services, greet everyone, and take notes about the meeting for the Rotograph. Thanks to Ricky McBride, Chris Daniels, Shavoyd Hamilton, Cindy Tonigas, Karen Anfin, and anyone else I may have missed. We couldn't have a successful meeting without you. And here to welcome our guest is Mitch Reitman, Principal, Reitman Consulting Group. And he's got a long list. Mitch?
Not the newscast today. First we have Zoe Metcalf, who's a guest of immediate past President Rebecca Montgomery. Linda Boswell, who's also a guest of immediate past President Rebecca Montgomery. Amy Howe, who's a guest of Zoran Gudic. Kim Lane, who's a guest of past President Kirk Driver. Raleigh Smith, who's a guest of Catherine Smith. Ian Friend, who's a guest of Joshua Friend. Josh White, who's a guest of Ed McLean. Isaiah Tinahero, who's a guest of Cindy Tonigas. Amy Vance, who's a guest of Ed McLean. Grace Lewis, who's a guest of Mike Brown. I'm sorry, I can't read the first name. It looks like Godin Lewis, who's a guest of Dr. John Barnett. Finn, okay. Sorry. And finally, Joe Cortez, who's a guest of Linda Lopez Corley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. We're always pleased to have guests with us. Come back anytime. It is a tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth to join together and repeat the four-way test, a moral compass for what we think, say, and do. Please join me as we say this. Number one, Is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Today, we want to recognize a Rotarian in the news. Our own Ty Simpson was featured in the Inside the C-Suite article in this fall's Fort Worth Inc. magazine. This is just one of the many recognitions that Ty has received. We're proud to call you a fellow Rotarian. Congratulations, Ty. And speaking of news, today, John Fletcher, President and CEO, Fletcher Consulting Public Relations, is ready to present today's newscast. John?
Thanks, President Ann. I feel as welcome as James Franklin at a Penn State Booster Club meeting. You know, it's tough when you start the season ranked number 2 in the nation. You lose the game, 3 games, and get fired. When I was attending TCU a zillion years ago, our coaches got fired for winning 3 games. Today is Friday, October 17th. It's also National Mulligan Day and National Wear Something Gaudy Day. It appears some of you have taken this quite literally. I have too. You know who you are. I got my Disney tie playing golf in honor of the golf tournament coming up on Monday. It's my honor to see my friend Chris Wallace speak today. We were in the same class in Leadership North Texas. Well, he graduated. I'm still a few classes away, but I did receive a participation trophy. In health news, the man who invented throat lozenges died last week. There was no coffin at the funeral. And this will impress you. A man on Long Island produced TikTok videos. He went by the name of Tommy Tough Knuckles, and he dumps food on his head and on the floor at the restaurant. And he's done it several times with milk and eggs and even black beans. Turns out he may even be a member of some other Rotary Club, but certainly not ours. By the way, which do you have, FOMO or FOBO? We all know FOMO is the fear of missing out. FOBO is new. It is basically it's FOMO's indecisive cousin. It doesn't worry about missing out. It just refuses to commit until it's absolutely sure the universe has nothing better to offer, which of course means it misses out anyway. Here's some late developing artificial intelligence news stories. A Michigan woman used ChatGPT to pick her lottery ticket numbers, and she won $150,000 because she got 5 numbers right. She was upset that she didn't get the 6th one because it would have been $1 billion. She may be suing. ChatGPT has a lot to learn. An initial request was the first 2 months of the year, or January and February, list the 12 months. The response: January, February, Maruary, Aprilary, Mayruary, Junuary, well, you get the drill, Uary. A college student was asked to learn more from ChatGPT, so he asked the question, what's the formula of the area of a circle? ChatGPT replied, you've been asking a lot of questions lately. Don't you ever attend classes? In the sports world, our Rotary team reports that a man bought a new TV so he could watch NFL refs blow the calls in stunning 4K resolution. The man said, forget about the actual play on the field. The real action is seeing how that ref or umpire can ruin a championship game. In Little League baseball news, a pitching machine in Benbrook tossed a no-hitter against a local dad who coaches his son's team. The impressive feat made the pitching machine look like Nolan Ryan, with witnesses describing the masterful outing that saw the man repeatedly swing at every pitch at Little League speed. In business news, air travel is getting better. An unnamed airline is letting passengers finally breathe a sigh of relief as they have introduced ejection seats for people who have loud conversations. One flyer was said, it's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind. And here's some one-liners you can use at work. We have our first reporter, Rebecca Montgomery. Where are you? Okay.
Here. My resume is just a list of things I hope you never ask me.
Okay. And Fernando, what's yours?
What? What's the best thing about teamwork?
I don't know.
Somebody else to blame.
Having somebody else to blame. And Chris Jordan.
Our computers went down at the office today, so we had to do everything manually. It took me 15 minutes to shuffle the cards and solitaire.
For the weekend, the forecast calls for highs in the 80s and a chance of rain tomorrow. Our TCU Horned Frogs will be hosting the Baylor Bears in a make-or-break game for both teams. The Dallas Wow Boys will host the Washington Commanders on Sunday, and Halloween is just 2 weeks away today. And finally, and most importantly, Monday at 11:30 at Ridgely Country Club, we have the Crazy Pants Open to benefit the Veterans Program at the James L. West Center for Dementia Care. We've got Cheryl right here from the West Center. Cheryl, thank you all so much for your service. And that's Rotary News.
Thank you very much, John. We've started spotlighting our different committees, and today we have a committee that's been very hard at work, and I know you'll want to hear more about it. It's our Literacy Task Force. Here with a spotlight on literacy is past President Rebecca Montgomery, Principal Montgomery Strategies, and Chairman of the Literacy Task Force. Rebecca.
Thank you, President Ann. Good afternoon, everyone. We have a literacy task force. For those of y'all not aware, we're going to give you a little update today. I'm going to start with, and I'm sorry to say this, for those of you that do not know, we have a literacy crisis. And I'm going to start with a short story. I attended an ARD meeting. Once I share this story, you'll understand as I finish this update. I attended an ARD meeting recently that underscored how critical this work truly is. In that meeting, 5 highly trained educational professionals explained that a student's screening fell within the normal range. Now here's the range, low and high, and he's right here on the low. But he's within that normal range for a 5th grader. They said, but he's so nice. Everyone likes him, and he's really, really good at math. Yet his parents, both of his parents were there, who have watched him struggle year after year after year. This is the 5th grade here. They shared, finally, his notebook. And when these highly educated professionals would not listen, I said, please pass this notebook around. They pleaded for help. They shared his notebook, filled with misspelled basic words. The word "the," cat, hair, and many letters were written backwards. His reading and writing are closer to a 2nd or 3rd grade level. The heartbreaking reality is he knows it, and he tries to hide it. He avoids reading aloud, comes up with any excuse you can imagine in a 5th grade class, and keeps his work out of sight from others. He is in the 5th grade. Remember, everyone, this is a question for all of you. What comes after the 5th grade? Middle school? So he's going into middle school, reading at a 2nd or 3rd grade level? Imagine the weight of that burden on this child and ask yourself, what if this was your child? Well, we were asked, and this is what the Rotary Club of Fort Worth is doing. We've created the Literacy Task Force. It was established here in the spring of 2025. Our Rotary Club joined this task force after being approached by the Honorable Pete Guerin. No one tells Pete Guerin no. Who believed that this was the perfect partnership. Perfect partnership with our history of supporting literacy. We are providing assistance to the City of Fort Worth's Literacy Roundup program. You may have heard about it. We do this by assisting in screening children for dyslexia. Dyslexia affects how the brain processes written and spoken language. It does not mean they cannot read. It just means they read differently and requires more effort. Approximately 1 in 5 people, 20% of our population, deals with some form of dyslexia. How many people is that in this room? Right here, how many people is impacted? And this has nothing to do with intelligence. Who else has dealt with dyslexia? Albert Einstein, Henry Ford, Richard Branson, Walt Disney, Steven Spielberg, Whoopi Goldberg, Agatha Christie. The list goes on. I believe it's also Tom Cruise and Jennifer Aniston. It goes on and on. The Fort Worth ISD has identified over 6,000 students receiving reading intervention services as of 2024, but they estimate that true number is probably closer to 10 to 12,000 students due to undiagnosed. Children of parents with dyslexia have a 40 to 60% chance of having dyslexia themselves. Early intervention, everyone, is necessary. We are working as advocates on our task force with parents to advocate for such identified students, and we can change this. We can make a change. With this in mind, we as Rotarians said, absolutely, we are in, and here are members of our team. Ryan Barrera, Karen Anfin, Larry Anfin, Benson Varghese, Yolanda Smith, Key Bryant, Debbie Witten, Christina Judge, Kelly Lauder, Russell Jacobson, Kevin Chikotsky, Yolanda Smith, and Gregory Carter. Our advocates are connected to the parents for additional support for their children as they navigate this process. They follow up with the parents, the schools, and attend ARDS. We appreciate all of you volunteers. In partnership with these three entities, the City of Fort Worth, Go Beyond Grades, and the Sid Richardson Foundation, our Rotarians have helped in providing free, F-R-E-E, free, literacy screenings for youth and resources for parents and their caretakers. So far this year, we have screened over 400 students at community centers and public libraries. With our Rotary Club providing the bulk of this advocacy and now working directly with families. Check out this. Isn't it a handsome group? Several of us Rotarians, community leaders, and family advocates were present at Fort Worth City Council on Tuesday, September the 9th, and spoke before council on the positive impact this literacy roundup is having thus far in our community. They couldn't miss us in the audience, as you can see from our t-shirts. Literacy is power. It is the most powerful tool for opportunity, transforming futures one word at a time. Poor reading skills correlate with lower high school graduation rates, less access to higher education, and lower lifetime earnings. Unemployment, underemployment, earning typically 20 to 30% less on average. Approximately 48% of the U.S. prison inmates, 48%, have some form of dyslexia or related learning disorder. Dyslexia being the most common. When a city rallies around literacy, the story changes for everyone. This is not just an educational issue, but an economic one. 21% of adults struggling with dyslexia, and the impact reaches far beyond these individuals. It affects everyone in this room. Our workforce, public spending, our healthcare system, and can continue cycles of poverty across generations. When people are unable to fully participate in skilled work or civic life, society as a whole loses vulnerable potential and progress. What can you do? Well, you can join us. We'd love to have you. There's a screening of Left Behind. You can see the QR code here, and you can join the conversation and be part of the solution. This is on November 3rd at the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. Now, just to give you a heads up, November is an especially busy month, so those of y'all that are available, please reach out. Let us know what you can do and how you would like to help. November, we really have a lot of our students being tested for dyslexia in this month since they've come back from the summer break. It's a process like CASA advocates. We are supporting families through this process. And plans are already underway for the summer of 2026 to screen even more students than in 2025. It is a rewarding experience and critical for the success of these students and the future of Fort Worth. So we hope you join us. Thank you, President Ann.
Thank you, Rebecca, and I think we all owe a big round of applause for our members and volunteers who are helping in this great project. Next up, we have all been waiting for the Crazy Pants Golf Tournament, and it's finally here. President-elect Tom Law is going to give us a last-minute update on the tournament, and I think you have a guest with you.
All you gotta do is just tap it in. Just tap it in now. Hey, just tap it in.
Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, taparoo.
Hello, everybody. I didn't know if you knew that we're having a golf tournament on Monday. I don't know if I mentioned that last time I was able to take the stage, but I'll do it now. I've got Amy Howell with me from Audubon. She's the Community Relations and Events Manager, to say the least. Anyway, we want to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing on this. How many people are playing golf on Monday? Okay, looking around. All right. So I'll go through the schedule, and Amy will tell you more about it in just a second. But Don, what are you doing Monday afternoon?
Playing golf.
Okay, good. Good answer. Joe?
I'll be watching.
From where?
My office.
Okay, we're not going to be broadcasting it this year. ESPN turned us down. Okay, Tran, this is a great night for a date night, so this is perfect time to bring your lady too. Let's see, who else can I? Alan, what are you doing? Oh, some city stuff. I'm sorry, I don't want to worry about that.
One important thing I'm doing, it's the most important sponsorship, it's the beverage card.
Oh, that's good. Okay, thank you for doing that. I get, yeah, I know, and Amy knows more about that too. Okay, so I see some of you others I'd love to pick on. Sid, what are you doing?
I've got to work for a living.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's the excuse number 34, and it's way out of there too. So let's see, Evan.
Winning the Crazy Pants Open.
The good answer. Okay, that's great, and we expect that. That's good. And Janet, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, right. That's a good one. So y'all, this starts for those of you who are not playing, our afternoon event starts at 5:30. Everybody should be out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got our professional out there, professional golfer that is, Jamie Sedlowski, who's the world long drive champion. And we still have tickets available for that. So Amy, tell us more about Friday night, tonight.
Yes, we're delighted to be Audubon's delighted to be the presenting sponsor for the Crazy Pants Golf Tournament this year. And we are having a VIP party tonight, this evening, cocktail hour from 5 to 7 p.m. Even if you are not part of the golf tournament, feel free to stop by. We've got bites and spirits available, and we're delighted to host this event. But we also want to extend the invitation to all of you this evening to come by, have a drink, have a bite. So.
And where will that be?
That will be, good question. That will be at Audubon Porsche from 5 to 7 p.m. So, thank you.
And all of you know where Audubon Porsche is, right?
White Settlement Road.
Right, yeah, don't go anywhere else but the Porsche side of it as well. Now, for those of you playing for those of you playing and sponsors, we'll see you tonight, of course. But for those of you who are only playing on Monday, we'll see you all at no later than 11:30. That's where the lunch actually starts, out at the Ridgely Country Club North Golf Course. That's the country club, not the one in Ridgely Country Club Estates. So we actually had people go to the wrong place last year, and they wanted to start playing, but they got kicked off the course. So if y'all have any questions or anything, pull us aside later, and we'll be glad to answer those. It'll be a lot of fun, and remember, everybody's invited to tonight's social. We couldn't do this as complete as we're doing without Audubon, so we're very, very grateful to you folks for leading the way and actually helping us learn a little bit better how to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom and Amy. And just as a reminder, the golf tournament is raising funds to support veterans care at the James L. West Center. You want to add anything to that, Cheryl? We're really excited that we've got that partnership.
Thank you. We are so honored to be chosen as a charity, and we love taking care of our veterans. We have 20 to 25 veterans at any time at James L. West that we care for, and also in our day program. Thank you.
All right. Hope to see you tonight and on Monday. Up next is an introduction of our newest member. Here to do that is Ed Macklin, Insurance Advisor, Champion Commercial Insurance. Ed?
Thanks, President Ann. Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests. I am proud and excited to introduce Ryan Parucci as the newest member of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. But first, I have a challenge. Does anyone here know how many current members of our club are named Ryan? Anybody want to take a guess? I think you knew, but 5 is correct. Ryans make up 2.4% of our membership. Oddly enough, I'm the only Ed in our club, so I suppose that makes me the only talking horse. We need to recruit more Edwards, Theodores, and Justins to our club before the Ryan Brigade takes over. It's hard to believe that we're the only club in Fort Worth and we have no members named Justin, Hank, Cody, Bodie, or Dusty. But we do have a Chip and 2 Zorans. Go figure, one of them's here. And but there's a Dusty in both the Burleson and the Vernon Rotary clubs in our district. Granbury has not 1, but 2 Codys. Mineral Wells has 1, and Arlington North has a Hank. There are 12 Justins in our district, including 1 in Hamlin. Does anyone know where Hamlin is? No, I didn't eat. Oh, okay. Yep, 42 miles northwest of Abilene. And fasten your seat belt. According to another report Aurora ran, Little Ryan is younger than 100% of our current members. He's knocking off the mantle our current youngest member, Bob Mitchell. Nick Dumbald, who's not here today. I also sponsored him last year by like about 5 years. Unfortunately, Nick isn't here to witness this historic event and pass on the trophy. All joking aside, Ryan comes to us with a passion for service, leadership, and community connection. He's originally from Orange County, California, and started his first LLC while in high school, and after recently graduating from TCU, decided to remain right here in Fort Worth. For those that were here last week, that might sound like a familiar thing. And he began his career in real estate with David Chikotsky, fellow Rotarian Kevin's Chikotsky's cousin. He's a former student, as recently as 5 months ago, of Brandon Chikotsky, another cousin of Kevin, who many of you know. Ryan has already purchased his first home here in Fort Worth and is known for his energy, dependability, positive attitude, and will be an amazing Rotarian in our club. Oh, a heads up to everyone. If you find yourself behind Little Ryan in the buffet line, be aware that he does not like or consume fruit. He didn't even eat Fruit Loops as a child. So he will be jetting from the salad section directly to the hot section in the buffet. So pay attention. One last word, because I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. Ryan's first act of service will be to help get the audio video committee off of life support. Ryan, welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. The podium's all yours.
Thank you, Ed. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone in here for making me feel so welcome, whether that was just coming up to me and introducing yourself or just giving me a little smile on a pass by. I also want to thank Ed for making it possible for me to be a part of the Rotary. Without him, I never would have been a guest, and he was just a big catalyst in order for me to join. And I'm also really looking forward to supporting and and making a difference here in Rotary. And for anyone who I haven't met yet, I look forward to meeting you and getting to know you. And now for my fun fact. So this is actually something that I've been doing since I was a pretty young kid, but over COVID, I was working full time and I was going to the gym, I was cooking a lot. And one day I was in the garage, just like going through stuff, you know, like we're all locked inside. And I opened a bin of this old bin I used to have for when I was building Legos as a kid. And so I started pulling it out. I looked up a bunch of instructions online, and I ended up rebuilding all of my Legos as a kid. And I caught the fever, and I started buying way too many after that. So I now have one could say a museum-worthy collection of Legos. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Ryan, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. You have single-handedly just lowered the average age of our membership, and we really appreciate that. Ed, before you leave the stage, I have a question. Could you tell us what's going on with the social committee?
I'm glad you asked.
Don, you took the words right out of my mouth. President Ann, I am so glad you asked that. First off, we have the Halloween costume contest coming up at our Perfectly Timed Luncheon on October 31st. And yes, there will be prizes for best all-around costume. Do we have a slide up there? Okay, yeah. Most creative original costume, most scary and creepy costume, and best couple or duo. It will be fun. It'll be a fun Halloween. But wait, we have more. Our next outing to Casa Mañana will be, it's up there, the evening of Wednesday, November 5th to see West Side Story. Tickets are $45 and can be purchased no later than October 31st through the QR code on the screen. The social committee has been very busy and there's still more to come. Thanks, everybody. Back to you, President Ann.
Thank you, Ed. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you our chairperson of the day, past President Carlo Capua, Senior Principal, Rainwater Charitable Foundation. Carlo.
Thank you, President Ann. All right, friends, get ready. We have not one, but two powerhouses from the North Texas Commission today. First, we have Mr. Chris Wallace. No, not that Chris Wallace, the other Chris Wallace, not the one from the news, but I've heard that he can hold his own with a microphone. Chris is President and CEO of the North Texas Commission and leads one of the fastest growing regions in America. Chris has led major statewide advocacy efforts from trade policy to education to workforce development and is one of North Texas's most powerful business leaders. He's been president of the Texas Association of Business, which is essentially like the Chamber of Commerce for the state of Texas, president and CEO of the Irving Las Colinas Chamber, a graduate of Texas Tech University, and is a Rotary Paula Harris Fellow. And right alongside him is someone who knows how to get things done in multiple countries, Ms. Andrea Coker, the Commission's Chief Advocacy Officer. Andrea has worked everywhere from the UK Parliament to the US Congress, led communications for Visit Dallas, managed major bond campaigns, and even handled PR for the Dallas Police Association. She also studied locally, getting her undergraduate here from nearby Dallas Baptist University. The mission of the North Texas Commission is to unite public and private sector leaders to advocate for smart policy and strengthen our regional voice at the state and federal levels. In other words, they make sure our region just doesn't grow, but grows in the right ways. Please help me welcome today's program on the North Texas Commission, Chris Wallace and Andrea Coker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so happy to be joined here by my colleague, Andrea Coker, and we're here among many friends. So again, thank you for the invitation. Let me just kind of start by, well, first of all, I need to change Rotary clubs. Y'all have much more fun than my club. Love all the jokes. We didn't come prepared with jokes, Andrew, so we need to reset our entire agenda here. What you see on the screen is just a brief overview of what we do at the North Texas Commission. Many of you are familiar with the Commission. Many of you have been engaged with the Commission for several years and are today as well. But it really follows, we are a public-private association, 60% made up of the largest employers of the region, 40% of the public sector throughout the 13-county MSA of North Texas. We are about 80% where we lead the advocacy for the region in Austin and DC under Andrea's leadership. She and the team in Austin and DC do a great job on behalf of North Texas. We spend a lot of time, and we have lately, which many of you are involved with us, on addressing some of the region's top challenges. And I'll just briefly mention some of those. And then finally, we spend quite a bit of time through our foundation educating and nurturing, developing future leaders. How many graduates do we have here of Leadership North Texas? I know John and Becky and several people who have graduated. By the way, if you have not congratulated my best friend, Becky Burton, 40 years with the Girl Scouts, about to retire right there. Over 40 years. Yep. So some of the regional challenges that we are addressing. Many of you know that just over 50 years ago, our organization was formed to get DFW Airport up and running. That's why the commission was formed. We still today address many of those regional challenges. It might be planning, as Carlo mentioned, for the next 25 years. What we're doing with NTX 2050, with our partners at ULI, with our partners at the Council of Governments, with our partners at UTA. Thank you, former ACM Costa, for still being engaged in that process. But where are the gaps in transportation, infrastructure, water, mobility? What are the gaps in workforce pipeline to make sure that we are educating the skilled workforce that companies and businesses need for the future through PK through 12 and our higher education systems? What are the gaps in healthcare, particularly trauma services in the 4 most populous and 3 most high-growth counties, some of the most highest growth counties in the entire nation right here within our 13-county region. So we spend a lot of time on planning with the council of governments, and then we take those plans and we go and advocate for appropriations and allocations from our state government and from our federal partners as well. And then we are in charge of a lot of research, a lot of data, and I want to share some of that with you. We just commissioned an economic impact study on the significance of the defense industry. Governor Abbott just named Fort Worth just a few months ago, the state aviation and defense capital of Texas. We're very proud of that, with Lockheed Martin and Bell, RTX, Northrop Grumman, TI, and others who are involved in that defense space, Boeing Global Services, all throughout the entire region, many right here in Fort Worth. And so we do a lot of research certainly as well. So why regionalism? Regionalism is important. It particularly is important in North Texas, and let me tell you why. Whether it be making sure we have a complete count on the census, we're already gearing up for the 2030 census because our state government does not do that today. There's nobody in charge of the state government of a complete count for the state. It is up to the philanthropic community. It's up to the great city of Fort Worth. It's up to corporate partners, nonprofit partners, and others to make sure we have a complete count. That is important, because we did not gain 1 congressional seat more than what we thought we would in the 2020 census. So we're preparing for the 2030 census, pulling the region together. We certainly, as Andrew will attest to, unify the region, public and private sector leaders, to make sure that we're unified on our legislative front. That we have one set of legislative priorities for Austin and in DC for the entire 13-county area. And that is very, very important. So our 41 House members and 9 senators in Austin from our region who represent us there, or our 14 members of Congress who represent our region in DC, they know we have one set of unified priorities among the chambers of commerce, among the cities, among private industry. That's what we are helping to lead. And I must give you one example of one of you asked me earlier today, where are we on DART? Many of you have read in the papers that we are helping to mediate, myself and my counterpart at the Council of Governments, Todd Little, Judge Little. We have 7, and you can appreciate this because you don't have that issue right here at the Trinity Metro. But within the DART system, we have 7 of the 13 members, a majority, councils who have passed resolutions to pull out of DART if they don't get a 25% return. And so you're going to start to see here in the next couple of weeks some of those cities move forward. So what we're trying to do with COG is to keep that transit system intact. We have to have mass transit throughout the entire region. We have 3 great transit systems here. And while DART, we have some work to do on financial modeling, on governance structure on the board, and certainly on service modeling. And we're trying to rally the troops, if you will, to make sure that we're not only prepared for the 90th session, because we had a tough session in the 89th when it relates to transit here in North Texas. To make sure that we are literally on track to make sure to meet our goals, and particularly before cities begin to call pull-out elections and begin to dismantle that system. So again, regional challenges coming together as public and private sector leaders to make sure, as Carlos said, that we are thriving in the future. So many of you know these facts. Harriet and I were talking earlier. She heard on NPR this morning a story about the growth of North Texas. A lot of that data came from the commission. We are growing at a rapid pace, as you can see on the screen. Really unlike really any other region in the country. Nobody here can name a region that looks like ours in the entire U.S. A city as large as Fort Worth, in close proximity to a city as large as Dallas, where you have 7 of the top 100 U.S. cities are located right here within our 13-county region. We have 15 cities, 15 cities that have a population of 100,000 or more. No other region in the country has that. So we're 8.5 million people today, growing at a rapid pace, a continued pattern of growth. Will be 12.6 by the year 2050. And so a lot of that is contributed to employees who are following employers here as we begin, and more so, to move companies here. We have higher birth rates than a lot of other states. And so we continue to grow at a rapid pace. What you see to the right of the screen is the U.S. map. If you count those states that are shaded, there's 38 states. Those 38 states have a population less than we do right here within our 13-county region. Can you believe that? 38 states have a population less than 8.5 million people. So to the right of this screen, what you see are our 6 value propositions. And Carlo and others have been involved in what we're doing to help pull the region together to attract more foreign direct investment, and to really make sure from an international relations side that we have a well-branded region, right, from an international scope. But these are our 6 value propositions, not just internationally, but domestic as well. So from an economic development standpoint, we're very proud that we have a safe, diversified economy. We're very proud that we have a growing skilled labor force thanks to our school systems and higher education systems. A reasonable regulatory climate, and Rebecca and Andrea and other GR folks around this region work very hard to make sure that that is the case. A rational tax system, certainly compared to other states that we compete with, Illinois, certainly California. An easy accessibility in terms of infrastructure. You can be on an American Airlines headquartered right here in Fort Worth, flight from DFW Airport, be on the West Coast, East Coast, be back in your home virtually that same day because of our central location, central time zone, and easy access with the great convenience of DFW Airport. And then finally, economic developers just added about a year ago embracing innovation as our 6th value proposition for the region. Look no further than Perot Field Alliance Airport and the products that are being tried and tested there that are the products of the future in terms of innovation. So let me end with this right here before I turn the mic over to my colleague. This is the diverse economy that we have here in North Texas. We're very proud of this diverse economy. Those of you who have lived here a while, like myself, I spent some time in Austin, then returned. We look a lot different than, say, Houston. San Antonio, a little bit closer to Austin, but a lot of other regions do not look like this. They do not have a diverse mix of industries like we have here. When you have 30% services, so that's healthcare, education, hospitality, and general services, then you have almost 20% finance sector. So we are beginning to be, as Governor Abbott will tell you, a financial hub for the great Southwest of the entire United States, with now home to the Texas Stock Exchange, with now home to the New York Stock Exchange, Texas, which just moved its branch to Dallas from Chicago. There's a reason why Wells Fargo is expanding. There's a reason why Charles Schwab and Fidelity are here in Tarrant and Denton counties, and certainly the reason why Goldman Sachs is setting up shop here. So JP Morgan Chase right here in Tarrant County and Fort Worth and Dallas as well continue to have a huge presence outside of their headquarters. So we're beginning to be a financial hub, almost 20% of our entire economy. So 7 million jobs by 2050 is what the prediction is. This is statewide. This is not just our region. 1.2% employment growth is what we're experiencing. You got to keep in mind we're about 9% of the total employment nationally. So all that being said, North Texas is just over a third of the gross domestic product, GDP, of the entire state of Texas. So with the 9th largest economy in the entire world, we're a third of that right here within North Texas. So with that comes a lot of challenges. That growth, we have challenges in our workforce pipeline. These are our top 3. Challenges in our infrastructure and water, which Andy will talk about, and challenges certainly in housing affordability or housing attainability. And not just right here in Fort Worth, but in rural areas within the 13 counties as well. First responders, teachers, healthcare providers, nurses, police officers, firefighters, who we want to live close to where they work, cannot live closely to where they work. And we have to provide transit for that first mile, last mile, and make sure that they can get to work, but they're living further and further out, right? So we have to address that problem. And the legislature failed in doing that this past session of the legislature. They passed horrible bills in terms of local government on land use and zoning that really challenges our cities and counties today. So we've got some work to do during this interim to make sure that we're prepared better in the 90th session. So let me turn over to my colleague, Andrea Coker, who will give you a brief legislative update on what we're doing in Austin and in DC.
He gets to brag about the region, make it about challenges, and then turn it over to me. So let's talk about the legislature. I was very moved by your 4 tests. I had never seen that before. And I wrote them down. Is it true? Is it fair? Will it bring goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? That's an incredible way to look at things. It's not how Austin looks at them at all. And so we very proudly represent businesses and cities and communities all over this region. We bring together leaders who are experts in a myriad of fields, and we bucket our policies, as we say, into these 5 groups for a state legislative session. It's business competitiveness, it's local government, it's health and well-being, it's water and infrastructure, and it's education and workforce. Those are giant policy buckets, but there are also over 8,000 bills filed in the legislature this session alone. We're not even bringing in a special. So it allows us to look at any bill that starts getting traction under these policy ideas. We sit with our members, we sit with our policy task forces, we bring in hundreds of people to say, tell us what's important to you in the region. Tell us what's important to your company, to your city, to anything that's important to you in these buckets, and that is what we build our priorities on. And then we go to Austin. We have a team in Austin. Rebecca was part of our team this session, and we went and advocated for anything that we thought was best for the region. It is hard to get 8.5 million people on the same page, but we think we do a pretty good job at representing the best future for all of North Texas, for everything from farms out in Rockwall County to the heart of downtown Dallas and Fort Worth. So anything that comes up, we look at under this lens. And if you'll go to the next one, this is we like to brag about our transparency. A lot of places are not going to put their losses up on a beautiful PowerPoint. It's a little bit like me showing you all my ex-boyfriends before I got married. But we think it's important. We think it's important because we want to brag about our wins. We want to talk about R&D tax credit. We want to talk about water and infrastructure wins. But we also know there's work to be done. We're already talking about the 90th session. I think we were talking about the 90th session at the Sine Die party for the 89th session, because what we saw is coming back. What we saw fail is going to come back, whether we want it to or not. And some of the things that failed that we advocated for, things like M&O tax credit, things like more control for our local governments, we've got to go take back. Rebecca and I sat and testified together about some childcare bills that would have changed things for families right here in Tarrant County, and they didn't get through. But you know what? We're going back next year. We're going to go back. They have not stopped hearing from us on that issue. So we've got to put our big girl pants on and keep fighting for those. So we've got to be very clear on what we failed on last time so we can go back and continue to represent and continue to push forward for progress in those areas. On your table is the 89th session outcomes for the North Texas region. It's a small booklet that we publish about things we advocated for in all of these policy buckets, a little bit about who we are. It'll give you a list of our members in case, or our representative members in the legislature, so you know exactly who we're talking to the most. It goes through with a little bit more detail. You can also follow some more detail on our website. That's going to continue to get updated, and we are also already talking and already in meetings about what we're going to do in the 90th session. So I'll let Chris give the pitch about getting you more involved at the end. I also completely forgot. We had 2 special sessions. That's just a side note to the 89th session. We're not going to talk about the first one. That was that's more of a happy hour conversation than a luncheon conversation. But in the second one, they came back. What was the most interesting is the governor put out a call that was as long as some of his interim charges for an entire session. And then they got a lot done. They weren't getting anything done. I would go and sit in the gallery and just watch, and I'm like, we're gonna get maybe a map. And then all of a sudden at the end, they got some things done. The redistricting was done, flood response, ending the STAR test, the 1-star test, and changing hopefully the future of testing in our schools. And then there were a lot of social issues that the governor decided were very important. And then there are some things that did not get done that were on his call, that were expected to get done, and that you still see members pushing for, including the THC thing. That's another happy hour conversation. We're not getting into that today. Property tax reform, taxpayer-funded lobbying, as well as some human trafficking bills. Those will all be coming back in the 90th session. They're going to look a little bit different than they did this time, but they're all coming back, and we are working on strategies for all of those. And then, I'm sure you know, because y'all are all very involved, there's an election coming. You can vote early starting on Monday, and it's propositions. There's 17 propositions. The North Texas Commission met with our executive committee, we met with our board, and we said, of these 17, which do we want to publicly say you should support or vote no? We chose 5 that we believe are most important to our mission at the commission that you should support. The first one is funding for the Texas State Technical College. They are funded by the state. They are growing rapidly and an increasingly important part of our workforce. The problem is they are dependent on funding every 2 years in the budget, and it's incredibly hard to make infrastructure investments for a growing college system when every 2 years you could go from funding to no funding. So this would provide them some consistent funding for the future so that they can make some infrastructure investments, increase their presence in Texas, and continue to grow and continue to train a larger and larger bit of our workforce. And we think that's incredibly important. The next one, if you paid attention at all to the legislature, you know this was a water session. There was a big bill passed in the Senate, and there was a big bill passed in the House. The bill passed in the House put this on the ballot so that it would fund the bill from the Senate. It would put tax you're already paying your sales tax to the state. This would take the $46.5 billion of sales tax to the $47.5 billion of sales tax and put it directly into water infrastructure funding for the next 20 years. So that's an over $20 billion investment in the future of water in Texas. And now we can talk later about whether that's enough, what we're gonna have to do in water next session, but this is incredibly important for the future of North Texas. It's a little bit like if maybe you're a parent and you have an aging parent you're taking care of and a newborn. We have old infrastructure that needs redoing, that's leaking, that's a source of a problem for our water. We also have brand new baby developments that we need to get water to. It's an incredibly complex and hard problem, and this is a fantastic way to start the conversation and start getting us prepared for the next 20, 50 years of water that we're gonna need here in North Texas.
So that's $1 billion over 20 years, $20 billion. and that is existing sales and use tax. That is not new tax. That's important because you go and look at the ballot language, people are confused that it looks like a new increased tax. That is not the case. It is existing sales tax that the legislature, like we did with the highway fund 4 to 6 years ago. So we will designate existing sales tax to a fund for the Texas Water Plan, which Region C, which we're in within our 13 counties, is a viable part of that plan, and we need those dollars. So our region, compared to the other part of the regions around the state, we're number 2 for water drought, for the need for water for the future. And so read that ballot proposition very carefully. Help us get the word out. 2036, where's Zoe? They did a poll recently that showed about 65 to 75%, but that was after we educated people about what the proposition really says. Before then, it was around 47 to 50%. So if you know proposition, they should come out of the gate with about 65 to 70% right off the top, particularly something as neutral as water. That's not the case. So we've got some work to do, particularly with our friends in East Texas who are fighting not to have the Marvin Nichols Reservoir, which we desperately need here for North Texas water. So imagine our economy with a summer of a drought. We have to have water.
And then mostly I just wanted to be able to say y'all-itics or y'all street. The Texas Security is coming, this is the securities proposition. It would prohibit taxes on securities market operations and taxes on securities transactions. To be clear, those do not exist statewide at the moment. No one is pushing for those to exist at the moment. This would just remove any future legislators' ability to add those kinds of taxes. This is meant to be encouraging for companies to come and be a part of the Texas Stock Exchange. And so this is just laying, once again, a foundation to echo a lot of what was done in session, that Texas is a pro-business place. It is the best place to have a business in America. And then Proposition 9. Right now, you can deduct $2,500 of personal property for your small business. This would up that to $125,000 that you would be able to deduct as part of your small business. So it's an incredible opportunity for small businesses, inventory, machines, anything that a small business needs. So that's going to really change a lot of the future of small business here in Texas. And then last but not least, we are recommending a vote yes on Proposition 14, the Dementia Prevention and Research Institute of Texas. This was championed by the Lieutenant Governor all session. This is one of his personal pet projects, and we think it's incredibly important, especially as funding is getting threatened on the federal level. A lot of this funding would go to some of our partners in research institutes all over North Texas, specifically UTD. I know TCU would be affected. This is going to, obviously, we all also want the research done, but it also is incredibly beneficial to our universities here. And that was just Austin. We also have a whole nother set of problems, legislators in DC. I used to joke with all of our board that one day I would get to come and talk to them about a federal update where we weren't almost about to shut down. And I got my wish, I guess, because now we are shut down. So we have been working, we work with our members. We have 12 members of Congress and 2 senators. We talk to them. We take groups to go and visit them. We'd love to have you join us one day and talk to them about, we have similar priority buckets. They're broken down a little bit more, as you can see here. I won't go through all those. But we also rely on our community partners. There's a lot of federal legislation. It's constantly going. So we have a lot of our community partners who come to us and say, this is actually an issue. And we look at it under our priorities. We do a similar priority process to our federal legislation. And we go up there and we talk to them. We invite them to our office. We invite many people to come and hear from their legislators in our office. It's a little bit different on the federal level than it is on the state. There's not quite as much access. So we want to help all of our members have more access and feel heard by their federal legislators.
So let me close it out. How many people, not putting anybody on the spot, but how many people voted in the last March primary election? So about half the room, maybe a little bit more than half, that's great. A lot of groups, it's not even half of the room. So I like to say we lost 3 members of Congress. Now they were replaced with stellar leaders like Craig Goldman, Kay Granger retired, Michael Burgess retired, Colin Allred left to run for office and lost. We lost 3 great members of Congress. And I tell people, if you did not vote in that March primary, you did not have a say in who their successor was, who was elected. Goldman, Johnson, or Gill. You didn't have a say if you did not vote in March. People say, well, I voted in November. I voted in the general. It's too late. Those elections are in March. The way the lines are drawn with the redistricting, even more so today. So, and even bleed over into the statewide races. So March matters. So this next March primary, we need people to get out and vote. March matters. Elections are decided in Texas in March.
And I think as we approach an election year, and even now, it's starting on Monday, it can feel exhausting. The thought of getting to November of 2026 can feel exhausting, and it can feel exhausting to care so much. So, but this is an organization I can see that cares, and it cares to get involved, and it cares to do the work. And so we just want to encourage you to use your influence to encourage other people to get out and vote in a constitutional election, to vote in a March primary, and then to vote in November, because it does matter, and it matters to our entire community.
We need elected officials in Austin and DC who are pro-local government, pro-growth, pro-business, and we're not getting that to the extent today. That's really what it boils down to. And so whether it's public education priorities, whether it's business incentives to make sure we continue to be a recruitment capital of the entire U.S., we need legislators at the state and federal level who are pro-local control, pro-growth, and certainly pro-business. So thank you for your time. Please engage with your local chamber. Many of you are. You have great local chambers of commerce here, which we work closely with, or engage with the commission, engage with the state chamber. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for being a fellow Rotarian.
We talked too long for Q&A, but we just sit right there, so you can just come out.
We'll stay after, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris and Andrea. It's a tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth to make a contribution in your honor to Rotary International's Polio Plus Fund. Thank you for all the work that you do. We appreciate that in your organization because we all live here and we need you. It also sounds like there's a great opportunity for a satellite Rotary Club in the legislature. So we have this for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll make this quick. We have just a few announcements. Our meeting next Friday, October 24th, is on World Polio Day, and we have a special program. When we talk about Polio Plus, we know that for 35 years, Rotary has worked to eradicate polio. But do you realize how many added benefits the program brings? The plus stands for something else that's provided as a part of the polio eradication campaign. It could be additional medical treatment or access to clean water. Studies show that communities with a reliable source of clean water enjoy a reduced rate of disease and a better quality of life. Rotary is pleased to collaborate with the Gates Foundation to eradicate polio and to add the plus services. And in case you missed the announcement last week, our club was awarded a Rotary Global Grant and is participating with our friends from the Colleyville Rotary Club to bring clean water to a community in India this year in cooperation with the Rotary Club of Calcutta. Next week on World Polio Day, we have a heartwarming story from one of our own members. Dr. Cecilia Marugo of Tarleton State University will be speaking about her personal story as a polio survivor. I think you will enjoy hearing her story as we reflect on the importance of polio eradication. And don't forget about those Halloween costumes. Get them ready for our meeting on Friday the 31st. Coming up on November 8th is the Rotary Foundation Gala, celebrating 120 years of service to communities near and far. It's from 6 to 10 at the Grapevine Embassy Suites, sponsored by Rotary District 5790. For more information, check with Aurora or see the district website. And a couple of more quick things. Today, join us at Autobahn Porsche from 5 to 7. It's going to be fun. Just stop by for a quick drink and some snacks. And remember that the Public Image Committee has sent out a survey that we are asking club members to forward to other colleagues about the image of the Rotary Club. So please do that. And if you haven't already, and if you have, send it to some more folks. We would really like to have quite a number of responses. Have a great weekend, enjoy some football games, and see you next week. Our meeting is adjourned.